All right, it's become this dirty word, and folks, I'm telling you right now, flat out, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not a crazy statement by any means. This right here is what is exactly wrong with the world. This is the poignant moment of everything. And again, I know there's listeners out there who are saying, well, what does this have to do with us? We're the United States. This is, you're talking Europe here. Well, historically, trends have a way of spreading throughout the globe. And if you look at the way things are done and all the political discussions on like every single level imaginable, you can see there's this anti-nationalism sentiment in this country as well. Those are the folks out there who support mainly Democrats, folks like Bernie Sanders, folks like Hillary Clinton, folks like Barack Obama. Somewhere along the lines, it has become bad to be proud of your country, to be proud of who you are, where you come from. Those tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracy theorists out there get made fun of all the time for saying, they're pushing for one world order and blah, 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 right? Anytime anybody says anything like that, we automatically dismiss them as whack jobs. Well, folks, this is exactly what they're talking about. Without borders, okay, if a country with no borders, they're not a country. They're an open space of land. Borders have been, a part of civilization since we became organized, since like the Dark Ages. Prior to any borders or anything like that, we had nomadic tribes who followed the animals and blah, blah, blah. Is that what we want to go back to? And again, just like my argument against, socialism and communism, things like that, this everybody love everybody, everybody help everybody idea is absolutely asinine. It never works. Okay, it may sound pretty, it may sound all nice, but at the end of the day, no matter where you're at, no matter what's going on, somebody is always going to be in charge. So if we eliminate boundaries and borders and things like that and just open everything up, one, you got to look at it from a safety point of view. Okay, right now we still have major terrorist attacks all over the world. Okay, this is no longer just isolated to the Middle East. This is no longer just contained to certain areas of the world. It's now gotten to this point where even with all the security, airport security and needs of passports and all that, we still have these terrorists being able to travel into these major industrial countries and carry out these horrific attacks. So if you just open the borders all willy-nilly, okay, just ignoring the fact that you're taking away a country's ability to govern itself, you're throwing any sort of security out the window. Out the window, completely. And then what's it going to do? And again, I'm just looking at the security angle right now. You go ahead and open up the borders of Europe. Open them up wide, okay? No more boundaries in Europe. Well, what sits just outside of Europe? A bunch of countries that don't really like us a whole lot. Don't you think a country like Russia, all right, who is already having problems with NATO and all these European countries and stuff, don't you think somebody like Vladimir Putin, who has a militaristic mind, this old school, KGB guy, don't you think he's going to see this open borders approach as as an invitation? Just an open, get out of jail free card, march on in, do whatever the hell you want sort of thing? Of course they are. You're empowering this. And with these terrorist organizations, the only thing that slows them down a little bit is the fact that there's borders and boundaries. That's why Daesh, thrives in areas where there's lack of control. Those power vacuums we talk about all the time. Syria, Iraq, Libya, Lebanon, not Lebanon, excuse me, all these countries there. Even Afghanistan, they're getting a stronghold in. It's a lack of command and control. So this Assad, by saying, let's just open up all the borders, They're asking you might as well douse everything in gas and just set the whole damn thing on fire, the entire continent. Just let it burn. Let's start over. It's ridiculous. And yet they try to do this through, these arguments of, if you're against refugees, then you don't care about people and you're unkind and all this bullshit. Well, let's face it, that's all it is. It's truly just bullshit. They want to guilt you into it. That bleeding heart liberal, that's their MO. That's how they do things. Now let's look back at we talked a little bit about security and that, but let's look at the countries themselves. Again, open boundaries, open borders, what are you going to do? Well, you don't have a country anymore if you don't have distinct boundaries, okay, that this is my country, this is Spain, this is Germany, this is whatever. All of a sudden, those lines blur. Then you're going to run into, okay, who's really in charge? And that's what organizations like the European Union want. They want to be the end-all, be-all. They want to be the ones who have all the power and nobody else has anything. And this is their way of setting it up. Now, do I think this is going to happen? Absolutely not. Okay, I really, truly don't. You're already seeing a pushback against this globalism mentality. Okay, and make no mistake, this is exactly what Hillary Clinton wants as well. Because when you're at the top in a society like that, a borderless society, when you're at the top of the heap, these politicians, these extremely wealthy folks, the folks in power, well, then they're unchecked, they're unchallenged. And things like this is why folks like Donald Trump are gaining such a foothold and gaining such a following with people. That message is resonating with people. Okay, Donald Trump doesn't come out and say, okay, let's make the world great again. He says, let's make America great again. Look no further than France. Okay, France went pretty, kind of liberal and everything. They've got, really strict gun control and blah, blah, blah. They keep getting involved. They keep having all these terrorist attacks pop up. And France has got an election coming up. And it was just announced yesterday. Again, I don't have all my articles in front of us, but who's considered one of the front runners for that election? The former president, Nicolas Sarkozy. He's one of these guys that was considered pretty conservative, and those nationalistic ideals. And again, for the folks out there who think that this is just Europe and has nothing to do with the United States, I refer you to the next article, and this one comes from Fox 8. It was actually posted up yesterday. Down in Cape Coral, Florida, okay, a Florida man, Micah Brennan, is really upset. And he's got a post on Facebook that's going viral. Of course, this is back to school time. Schools everywhere are gearing back up and everything. And his niece apparently brought home a waiver from the school. Now, if you have school-age kids, every time your kids start school, especially a public school, you get a stack of paperwork, authorizing the school to do this and to do that, and, giving their blessing on every little policy and blah, blah, blah. At least that's how it is in my neck of the woods. Well, apparently, this school sent home a request form to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, and there's a picture of it there. It's posted up. And it says, it's got the student name, grade, and school. And there's a mark for them, or a little box for them to check that says, I understand my rights as a parent, and I request that my child, noted above, be excused from reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. This request includes standing and placing his or her hand over his or her heart. Now, he wrote on it, this is the dumbest thing I've ever read, and I am so ashamed of this. Now, this is going, absolutely viral. It's all over social media. And, the school, from far as I can tell, has refused to comment on this. And this debate comes up every single year. And, I've told you guys many, many times about, my daughter, Haley. She's going into third grade. And everything that she believes. And it's part operating, not to toot my own horn or anything, but I'm raising somebody who loves this country. She loves America. She loves the values we stand for. And she loves saying the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, again, I've told you guys a pile of times about how, I'll walk by her room at night and randomly she'll be saying the Pledge of Allegiance or singing the national anthem or anything like that. We've gotten to this point in society where being proud of your country has become a bad thing. Now, I would be more upset about this article. Okay, I would be like screaming to high heaven to anybody who would listen if this reform was permission just to say the pledge. Okay, this is an exemption form that says, okay, I'm marking this box saying that my child doesn't have to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Now, I understand, I guess, there are people out there who have, complaints about the Pledge of Allegiance, in particular, the under God statement of it. But what about tradition? What happened to pride? And I have this this sort of affinity, this natural feeling that things were totally different in different eras. Kind of like you look back to the 1950s, and you sort of see that as the Americana at its finest, and flags flying on everybody's porches. There was no question of, do you love this country? Nationalism was at an all-time high. And somehow we've gotten so far from that. And there's a lot of reasons for it. The main reason, of course, is political correctness. All these namby-pamby bullshit people out there who say, oh, well, my kid doesn't need to say the Pledge of Allegiance. It offends me. Or this offends me, that offends me, whatever. We're giving up everything and getting nothing in return. Now, for all the parents out there who have issues with the under God statement in the Pledge of Allegiance, I get it. That's your right. You have your religion, whatever. And I guess I never really had a huge problem with, these little deals with parents make with a teacher and say, hey, you know what? I don't believe in the under God part of it. My kid's not going to do that. Okay, I don't really agree with it, per se. I have a problem with it, but I can understand it. But to get to the point where every parent has to get this paper in the mail, giving them the option of saying the pledge or not, that's fucking ridiculous. It's embarrassing to me. It's the same thing, that we see with this anti-patriot movement, where if somebody identifies themselves as a patriot, and talks about how much they love this country and love this nation and everything, oh, well, you're a right-wing whack job. You must be in a militia. You're dangerous. You're dangerous to society. Folks, we're tearing apart the very fabric of who we are. The very backbone of what this country is. I'm telling you right now, it is completely okay to be proud of your country. It's completely okay to love America and to think that America is the greatest country on the face of the earth. But the liberal agenda, this liberal mindset, has so perverted everything. And you wonder why. You wonder why millennials are so confused. You wonder why they don't know what, they don't even know their ass from their elbow anymore. They're tore up politically. They have no idea what what they're even what they're supposed to believe. And we keep doing this. It's not just the Pledge of Allegiance and things like that. It's the whole the transgender thing. The gender identity crap. Again, I'm not judging these people. If you're a man and you think you're a woman, well, more power to you. But it's become such a big deal that we have instances like the next article I posted here. This is an elementary school in Albuquerque